Welcome to the session on creating a respectful workplace. Intent. To achieve our vision of a respectful workplace, CRSB recognizes that the work environment must be one which demonstrates respect, dignity, equity, and safety for all employees and residents. A copy of our harassment and discrimination policy and a copy of our violence and harassment plan is attached to this presentation. CRSB commitment. Our organization will promote responsibility, respect, civility, and professional excellence in a safe work environment. Any form of discrimination or harassment is prohibited, and CRSB will consider all complaints seriously. All investigations will be timely, thorough, objective, and fair to all affected parties. Every person has the right to report an incident or suspected incident without fear of reprisal. OHS legislation states that the employer's general duty is to ensure where it is reasonably practicable the health, safety, and welfare of his or her workers. Respect in the workplace. This session will include workplace discrimination, harassment, violence in the workplace, appropriate workplace conduct, including personal privacy, gossip, and rumors, language, inappropriate conversations, noise, distraction, and workplace cleanliness. Discrimination. Discrimination generally refers to actions toward or practices regarding members of a group, which results in them being disadvantaged. Discrimination is prohibited under the Human Rights Act. The Human Rights Act provides that every person has a right to equal treatment with respect to services, goods, and facilities without discrimination because of race, ancestry, place of origin, color, ethnic origin, citizenship, creed, sex, sexual orientation, age, marital status, same-sex partnership status, family status, disability, or the receipt of public assistance. Harassment. Harassment is a form of discrimination and is against the law. Harassment is defined in the Human Rights Act as engaging in a course of vexatious comment or conduct that is known or ought reasonably to be known to be unwelcome. Harassment may be physical, for example, pushing or other unwelcome contact, verbal, for example, threats or insults, written or visual, for example, graffiti or display of offensive and hurtful materials designed to exclude or marginalize their target, and includes use of the internet. Harassment does not necessarily need to target a specific individual. A single act or expression can constitute harassment if it is a serious violation. Examples of harassment. Harassment can manifest itself in many ways. Types of behavior which constitute harassment include, but are not limited to, jokes or hostile comments relating to physical characteristics, ancestry, or age. Physical or verbal teasing, display or passing around of sexist, racist, or derogatory pictures, materials, or graffiti. Intimidation, offensive remarks, belittling and threatening behavior, leering, suggestive staring, obscene and/or offensive gestures, inquiries or comments about a person's sex life or sexual preferences, practical jokes which cause embarrassment, endanger safety, or negatively affect others, derogatory nicknames, physical or sexual unwelcome contact, yelling at the person, threatening, constantly interrupting that person, or prohibiting the person from speaking to others. Examples of harassment continued. Harassment can manifest itself in many ways. Types of behavior which constitute harassment include, but are not limited to, engaging in reprisals for having made a complaint under this policy, discrediting the person by spreading malicious gossip or rumors, compelling the person to perform tasks that are inferior to their competencies that demean or belittle them, setting the person up for failure. Isolating the person by no longer talking to them, denying or ignoring their presence, distancing them from others. Destabilizing the person by making fun of their beliefs, values, political and/or religious choices, and mocking their weak points. Harassing a person based on a prohibited ground of discrimination, as described in Canadian Human Rights Act and contained in the policy, outlined on page 5. What is not harassment? Normal exercise of management's right to manage, such as the day-to-day management of operations, performance at work, or absenteeism, the assignment of tasks, reference checks, and the application of progressive discipline, up to and including termination, constitute the legitimate exercise of management's authority. Workplace conflict does not constitute harassment, but could turn into harassment if no steps are taken to resolve the conflict. Work-related stress does not constitute harassment, but the accumulation of stress factors may increase the risk of harassment. Difficult conditions of employment, professional constraints, and organizational changes. A single or isolated incident, such as an inappropriate remark or having an abrupt manner. A social relationship welcomed by both individuals and friendly gestures among coworkers, such as a pat on the back. Workplace violence. The attempted or actual exercise of physical force to cause injury to a worker and includes threatening statements or behavior which gives a worker reason to believe that he or she is at risk of injury. An assault that consists of the intentional application of force. An intentional, reckless, or threatened act or omission that causes bodily harm or damage to property or causes a reasonable fear of same. Forcible physical confinement without lawful authority. The act of or threat of sexual assault, sexual exploitation, or sexual molestation. Conduct that causes a person to reasonably fear for his or her safety, including following, contacting, communicating with, observing, or recording a person. And family violence, CRSB will take every precaution reasonable for the protection of workers once there is awareness that family violence could likely expose a worker to physical injury in the workplace. Reporting harassment, discrimination, or violence. If you believe that you have been harassed, discriminated, or victim of violence, you are encouraged to make it known to the other person as soon as possible to resolve the problem. The earlier the problem is addressed and discussed, the better the chance of it being resolved and the inappropriate behavior stopped. If the problem is not resolved, or if you feel you cannot speak directly to the other person, you should notify Human Resources immediately by completing a workplace harassment, violence, and discrimination form, which is located in ShareVision. Verbal reports will be accepted with a follow-up written report. Allegations will be investigated by Human Resources in a confidential and expedient manner without fear of reprisal. Where harassment, discrimination, or violence is substantiated, CRSB will take appropriate disciplinary and corrective action. Any action will be confidential and not disclosed to the complainant. Respect in the workplace. Appropriate workplace conduct, including personal privacy, gossip, and rumors. Language. Inappropriate conversations. Noise, distraction, and workplace cleanliness. Personal privacy. All employees are entitled to the rights of personal privacy. Employees are under no obligation to reveal their age, race, religion, political alliances, ancestry, place of origin, ethnic origin, citizenship, creed, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, same-sex partnership status, family status, disability, or the receipt of public assistance. If an employee feels that their personal privacy is being intruded upon, they are encouraged to confront the person and politely ask them to cease and desist their line of questioning. If this is not possible and the situation is extreme in nature, then the employee should contact human resources to help deal with the problem. Employees should refrain from making their religious, political, or personal views that relate to sensitive topics public, as they are inappropriate topics of discussion for the workplace. Workplace gossip and rumors. The spread of workplace rumors by way of gossip is strictly prohibited. This includes verbal, written, and electronic communication. Workplace rumors can spread quickly and may irreparably damage the professional image or reputation of our employees and our reputation as an employer. In some cases, workplace gossip or rumors may constitute harassment or verbal assault. If an employee witnesses, is engaged in, or is affected by workplace gossip or rumors, they should report the incidents to human resources for investigation. Employees should refuse to participate in derogatory or malicious gossip or rumors. Any employee that witnesses workplace activity that constitutes illegal, unethical, or inappropriate behavior should report it to human resources to ensure that it is investigated through the proper channels and that appropriate corrective action may be taken. Language. The use of profane language is strictly prohibited on company premises. The use of profane language may be offensive to some employees and residents, and is generally unprofessional conduct that is unacceptable in the workplace. Inappropriate conversations. Employees should refrain from engaging in any forms of conversation that are inappropriate for the workplace and may be overheard by others. Forms of conversation that may be deemed inappropriate for the workplace include discussions regarding personal relationships and/or sexual activity, lewd jokes, any discussion relating to personal political views, any discussion relating to personal religious views, any conversation involving derogatory or malicious gossip and/or rumors. Noise. Employees should avoid causing undue distractions in the workplace via excessive noise from conversations, radios, or other music-playing devices, computers, or video players. Excessive noise may create an unwanted distraction that could detract from the quality of work completed by other employees and from their overall workplace experience. Cleanliness. Employees are expected to maintain a clean workplace by cleaning up after themselves whenever possible, including at their desk or workspace and in any kitchen areas. Cleanliness can also help prevent workplace accidents and displays respect for other coworkers. OMS legislation states that employees must complete respectful workplace training, pass a quiz, now considered a condition of employment. Please complete the quiz in the Share Vision training module, which is based on the information provided in previous slides. Thanks for your participation, and a certificate will be forwarded upon successful passing of the quiz. Thank you for participating in the session on creating a respectful workplace.